So, how is it going this afternoon? And this is a true live because hey, how are you, Keith? I am sitting in my car and hoping the breeze blows through. My air conditioning in my car quit working a couple of days ago, and it has been so freaking hot here in North Carolina, and I am sitting in my car waiting for my son to come from a meeting he's in. So I thought I would do a live. So hi to everybody. And I just got done with a session with a woman, and it was about, we were talking about divine calling. Like, what is your purpose? What is your calling, right? And a lot of people, if I went and talked to 10 people and asked them what their purpose was, they would give me some answer that isn't the truth. I mean it. They would give me some answer that they either think society has told them that they need to be, something they need to be, or it would be something that they wish that doesn't exactly fit with them, or it would be something that is only related to, like, one topic, like money. And a lot of times when people tell me what their purpose is, when I'm talking to them, it's very pushed, and it's very it's like I can feel the energy of striving, of figuring, I'm going to figure this out. I have to figure this out. Hi, how are you? And so whenever you're feeling that push, that striving, that is not God. And it is, I don't know what it is. I would call it evil pulling at you. And I would call it also turning to society's definition of what is success. But when you are looking at, so let me tell you the story about this meeting that I just had. So I offer one-on-one sessions to meet with people to help them find their calling and their purpose. And it's based on the fact that all of every one of us is here by design from God. Give me an amen if you believe that, and if you know that to be true, because it's true. And that every one of us has a purpose to follow through and do on this earth. So say hey as you're jumping on, and go get other people to be part of this. This is a great conversation right now, and it's got so much truth in it that you need to track with me right now. So all of us have this divine calling, but only about 2% of all people ever find their calling, ever really work from it, ever really work from their divine spirit. And when you're in it because it feels good and you're relaxed and it's easy and all of that. And I just had this meeting with this woman who was, I was helping her in a session to figure out what her divine plan is, what her life mission is, what her purpose is. And she starts talking to me, and she's telling me all about this story about how she's got to discipline herself more, how she's got to work on her goals every day. And I'm sorry this phone's moving around. I'm just holding the phone today while I do my live. How she's got to, make herself hit it financially, that she knows how to make money. She's got 2 master's degrees. She's going to go for another one. And I was sitting there listening to her and literally praying in the background. Y'all ever pray in the background when people talk to you? Because there was something in it that was feeling so pressured, so stressful, and I couldn't quite get it. And I was trying to figure out how to help and what to say. And I was literally praying in the background, Lord, let me know what to say. What do you want? You take over this session. And we talked for probably 40 minutes, and she was telling me about her goals in real estate and her goals in business, and that she maybe wanted to start several businesses, and how she needed to focus, and just one thing after another. And then she told me that I said, well, what is it really joyful for you? What is really like, what really just floats your boat? What makes you really, relaxed and happy? And well, then if you're not interested, my love, you can leave the channel if you're not interested. So thank you. So anyway, I said, what is, what makes you happy? And she said, I don't know if I'm ever happy. The only time I would be happy is if I made the money and if I, made a success. And it just got feeling worse and worse, uncomfortable. And that, thank you for saying you're sorry. I appreciate it. And, it just got more and more uncomfortable, and I kept praying, and then she started talking to me about the only time I just love, if I could, this is what she said, if I could, I would crochet all day long, or I would do calligraphy. I could all of a sudden do calligraphy for 9 hours a day. And by the way, her ability to write and do calligraphy is absolutely beautiful. She's very, very talented. And she said, but I can't make any money doing that, so I can't do it. And it became evident to me right then and there, God spoke to me. And she said, but I'm not making money doing anything else either. So I don't know what I'm going to do or what I'm good at. And God spoke to me right then and there and said, this is why it is so hard for her, because she's trying to fit her divine design into what society tells her she should be. And what is interesting about this calligraphy? What is it about this calligraphy? Because when she started talking about it, like her whole body lit up, her face was relaxed, she was joyful. And I said, tell me a little bit about that, because now you're saying you want like 14 different businesses, you like to serve, you got all kinds of interests. I said, I think your North Star, and that's what I call like what's leading you, because you're walking into your divine calling. I said, I think your North Star is creativity. And she started saying, you might have something there, because I love being creative. And really, I mean, God is called the creator for a reason, right? Creator. We're all supposed to be creative in his spirit. So anyway, she starts talking about creativity. And I said, well, when is it that you feel the most creative? And she said, it's when I'm in the kitchen. I'm a homebody. I love cooking. I love canning. I'm like, and I'm going to use her words, I'm the Black Martha Stewart. And if I could be the Black Martha Stewart, that's what I'd want to be. And the more she talked about that, the more energy she had, the more her face changed, the more. And I said to her, well, why aren't you doing that? Why don't you do that? And she's like, because I can't make any money. And I said, wait a minute. Martha Stewart makes a lot of money, right? Martha Stewart makes a lot of money just by making things beautiful, by cooking, by being present and talking about it. And social media, somebody give me an amen on this. Social media is a place where I go find, all kinds of things about cooking, about dishes, about, showing up and making things prettier, about, decorating, all those things, right? I mean, right now, social media really is about, interests, what people are interested in, not so much of what you're doing, right? And so I started talking to her and I was like, well, why can't you make money by being creative? By being, and she was like, you know what? The only thing I've really made money doing in the last few months is when I started bottling these kombuchas that I was making, these ginger kombuchas and those kind of things. And she said the only time that worked out is when I I did that, and not all this other stuff that I'm doing with real estate. See, she's trying to be a real estate agent, and all this other stuff I'm trying to do with getting these businesses going and all this thing is not working. And really, to tell you the truth, Paula, what's working for me is when I am in my kitchen, and that did make me money. And she said, this is cracked me up. She said, I'm starting to think that you're 75% right. Because I started telling her what's easiest for you, what relaxes you, what brings you joy, what is the thing that you feel most attached to when you're doing it. Like, you lose time when you're doing it. Like she says, I can do calligraphy for 9 hours a day. Dude, you put a calligraphy pen in front of me for 3 minutes and I'll be like wanting to cry. Somebody tell me if you can agree with that. First of all, my handwriting's horrible and I just don't have the, that's just not my thing. But for her, when she said she could do that 9 hours and just keep going, that's where she loses time. And this is a key for you. If you're struggling, one, to make money, if you're struggling also to feel good and joyful in life, if you're struggling to make it happen, it's that struggle that's the problem. When you get into using your divine calling, your divine your sense of what you're being called to do, your heart space, what you're supposed to be doing in God's world, it will be easy. And not only that, it's a backwards idea because we think we got to fit in and know like how to run AI, right? Who's into trying to figure out how do I make a business out of AI? AI is a bunch of hacks and all the things. It's a bunch of poo-poo on the internet. I don't think it's poo-poo. I think it's useful. But AI in general, it's the courses they teach about it is just teaching you how to put together a whole bunch of crap from all over the place and use it as hacks. So anyway, it's a lot of people are trying to fit themselves, their round peg into a square hole so they can become something successful when if they really got connected to what's easy for them, what feels fun for them, what they lose time when they're doing it, they would connect with their divine calling. And once you get connected with your divine calling, it is easy. It is easy. When I sit with someone, like I know real estate investing, and I know real estate, the secret to real estate investing is to use it as a vehicle, to use it as the thing that can bring you money fairly quickly, fairly well. It doesn't always work because sometimes real estate goes up and down just like everything else. When you're investing, there's a risk, but generally it can bring you money and resources so that you can fund your big dream, your big calling, what God's calling you to do. And when you are doing what you lose time doing, when you're doing the thing that you're passionate about, the stuff that you love, the stuff that just makes your heart sing, you are doing what God put you on this earth to do. So if you would just stop struggling so much, this is why it's hard for you, because you are struggling to make it work. Like my friend who was struggling to make herself do her goals, to make herself make phone calls and get leads, just to make herself. Her whole day was about making herself do something. And the only time that she really rested was when she was is when she's in her kitchen, when she's developing recipes. She makes this cranberry sauce that's amazing and out the world. She even developed like this label for the packaging for it because she loves the stuff so much. So, it sort of made sense to me while I'm talking to her. That's your calling. It's okay to be that person that's in the kitchen canning, that's creating the amazing cranberry sauce, that is making when I saw her over, it was Halloween. She had made these little boxes and decorated all of them and was just handing them out to her friends. And she said to me, but I give those away because it makes me so happy to do it and I don't make any money. And I'm like, if you stayed the course, people are going to start buying it from you. And then she realized that she had been selling some of the things, the kombucha things. So she agreed with me 75%. This makes me laugh. That we had found her true calling. And she's she's not young, like a 20. She's over 20. She's over 30. And for the first time in her life, she felt joy and relief and a surge of energy to connect with that person, that part of her, that identity of her that loves being in the kitchen, that loves doing the canning, that loves making this cranberry sauce, that loves cooking. And she's got some things going on right now where she can't really be on social media, but let's all cheer for her because very soon she's going to be able to do it. And I want her, maybe she can come live, maybe we can do a live here, right? And she could just be in her divine calling in front of you and tell the story and share her experience with really signing on for the first time in her life for who she really is, and not trying to be that person that has all the master's degrees and makes tons of money because she finds out how to use AI or how to be a marketing person or whatever, but she uses her skills and knowledge and ability that's God given. The reason that all of us, me, you, everybody that's on here, and I want you to tell me something you work too hard doing and something that isn't working out for you. The reason that that is happening is because you are not coming at it from grace and ease and relaxation. When you relax and you allow the divine, and it might be even, and we've talked about this before, that the divine is going, this isn't where you need to be. Let me correct you. Let me move you somewhere else. This isn't where you need to be. When you are pushing a rock uphill, and that is what making yourself make success is. When you push a rock uphill, what is likely to happen when you're doing that? The rock push uphill is one, super hard, and it'll wear you out. It's heavy, it's hard, it's not to push up. You tired? What is that rock freaking gonna do? It's gonna roll right back over you and smush you. So when you're working too hard at something, when you're making yourself do something, when you're forcing it, it is highly likely that that is you not working in God's calling. When you are working in your passion, in the things that you lose time in, the things that you wake up and think about, the thing that you want to do on Tuesday morning when your life is exactly what you want it to be, that is you in God's calling. And when you get into that, when you get into your divine purpose, you're literally serving the world. It is easy. And you know what the backwards thing about it is you're going to have more and more opportunities to make more money than you ever knew in many different ways. And the interesting thing is you gotta start turning your head toward it. You've got to start looking toward what is it that God's calling me to do. And often you're going to want to argue with it. Like your logical mind is going to want to argue and say, God's not calling me. That's not God. Right? Does anybody have that thing where you have a hard time figuring out, is this the voice of God or is this the voice of me? Anybody have that that going on? I do. And how I know that it is God is by the way, draw nigh unto me and I will draw nigh to you. We have to make the first move with God so that God can guide us. Draw nigh unto me. So responding to that intuition, that nudge, that hunch, and just moving forward in the smallest way will move you into your calling, will move you into your success, will move you out of stress and overwhelm. Following the hunches is calling nigh onto God, and God will start responding to it. And what has happened in many of our lives is we've been taught to ignore that voice. We've been taught to ignore that intuition. We've been taught to be logical and do what we know is supposed to happen and to be like looking for proof. And when that happens, often it feels icky. It feels hard, right? That's pushing the rock uphill and then it'll roll back over you. So when you follow your intuition, when you follow that lead, and you can literally ask, give me a definite lead, God, if there's something for me to do, if there's something in my divine calling, in my divinity to do, give me a lead. And if you don't get a lead, you can wait, you can rest, you can know it is done. I can rest until I'm told, because you've drawn nigh unto God and you will receive it back. And you receive the information. But when you start acting on intuition and you start like kind of testing out, is this my calling? Am I really working on this? Things may seem like they don't work out. It might seem like, well, this isn't making me any money, but you got to stick with it, because often God's either one, testing, are you really going to do this? Or two, there's a different way you're supposed to go. And without you playing in that field, you won't ever know the way. For instance, my friend that I was with earlier, who told me the only, she figured out that her North Star, her God calling was literally, and I'm using her words, to be the Black Martha Stewart. Okay. And she like, never signed on for that. She's always said it as a joke and then went and did other things and tried to figure it out. But when she said, it was such a surprise to me that I started making this kombucha drink and that people loved it and then wanted to pay me for it. I would have never, ever have thought that that was something I was going to do. That's the surprise. And that's her following the lead. That's her following, this feels good and fun, so let me see what happens. That's her following the energy of direction there, and not thinking, oh, well, I'm supposed to have my MBA and work for corporate America, and since my job is, not in corporate America right now, I'm just going to keep trying to find that job. When she followed that other thread, all of a sudden this new opportunity where people were just coming to her and saying, could I buy more? This is wonderful. When are you going to make more? And she figured out that is really her North Star. For the first time in her life, she got it. And for the first time in her life, she was excited about her direction. She knows her where, right? Now she can fill in all the blanks. She can follow the intuition. She can follow the energy. She can follow the spirit. And she can also be thankful that she's operating in God's grace. And it's not going to be so hard anymore. I've known her for literally years, and she's been pushing a rock uphill for years. And today, for the first time, she relaxed. And she smiled inside, and her whole demeanor changed. So the reason it's so hard for you is because you're not you're operating on logic. You're trying to force the success that society tells you. And by the way, if you're liking this, please subscribe. Please give me a like. Please share this with other people. But if it's resonating with you or someone else who needs to hear it, I so appreciate it. So appreciate you tuning in. Appreciate you being part of this community. Love to have your conversation with me. I'd love to have you tell me what you think about this topic, what you think about finding your divine plan. Are you really operating in it? Do you feel good when you're doing that? Or, you know, when you feel dark and you feel heavy and you feel like you're trying to make it happen, that is not divine inspiration. That is you, or, you know, the devil, or whatever you want to call it, really, really, really taking over your heart. And your heart, hey, your heart can be light, can be joyful. And when you do that, you're going to have more abundance. Okay. So what I want you to do, the first step is, oh, and let me go over this point too, is you're not going to get to God's divine calling for you by telling yourself everything you do wrong, by picking yourself apart, by trying to find out, if I just fix this one thing, then other things can get better. If this was just better about me, then, you know, I would be, you know, more successful. You are not going to operate in your highest joy, your highest level of being in the world, your highest level of abundance. You're not going to find your highest level of money even in that state until you learn. First step is to sit in your wholeness. That means sitting in the full appreciation of yourself just as you are right now. The appreciation like God appreciates you, like your mom appreciates you if your mom isn't really critical, or your best friend, or your dog. That appreciation of wholeness, that sitting in that feeling of I'm okay just the way I am, that's the first step in starting this. You have to be in wholeness first. You don't have to fix everything so you can get there. Just allow yourself to feel whole. Lay down the baseball bat. Quit beating yourself up for, I gotta fix this and I'm doing that wrong and I didn't exercise today and there's something wrong with me. Why do I? Just relax and allow yourself to feel supported like a little baby, like how you would be in the arms of God as a baby, feeling your wholeness. Once you feel that wholeness, then you can start to ask, what do I need to do, God? How can teach me, guide me, show me how I can be more in your spirit, how I can bring more to the world that you're calling me to do. Teach me, guide me, show me how I can be more fulfilled and fulfilling with you. And you will get answers. And when they come, they're going to feel good if they're of God. If they're going to feel good if they're really your divine calling, your stuff. And then just follow the smallest little thing, the hunch, the lead, the information, and just keep asking. And more information will come, more will be revealed. And you can tell if it's right, if it's of God, when you relax, when it feels right, when you feel, like they say, aligned, when you feel connected to God, when you feel spirit, when you feel fun, when you feel the energy. So I really want you to think about and actually know that the reason that it feels so hard for you is because you're pushing a rock uphill. You're trying to make yourself be something you're not. And when you can lean back into your wholeness and appreciate and ask God to show you what is your North Star, what is your calling, whether it's, and how can you make that into more abundance for serving the world and yourself and others. You will find more joy, and backwards, you're going to find more money. And if you have such a big dream that you really do need to fund it, you can use many, many sources in real estate as a way to do that. But don't come in and force yourself to make that your business or make a business so you can have your dream someday. Go know your divine calling and then use the vehicle to get you to your North Star. I'm Paula Bohland. Loved being with you this evening. Loved talking about this. I would love to have your input. If you liked what we've been talking about, please subscribe. Please tell other people about it. And I